5:30, we're going to call the meeting to order. Would you please stand? Board member Marianne Lee will lead us in the pledge.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Dr. Pollard, would you lead us in prayer?
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to gather here tonight, and we hope that you help us make good decisions, Lord, and honor some very worthy students and adults. And Lord, we just are so thankful that our first 3 days have been safe and the students have been safe, and we hope for a safe and healthy school year, Lord, and in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, student spotlight.
All right. Well, tonight we have a couple of excellent singers that we're going to be honoring. Recent graduate Addie Carpenter and sophomore Memphis Wells. Both of them had fantastic performances last year. I'm going to list a few of their accolades, but both were all-region choir members and soloists. Both were pre-area and area candidates, and both received superior ratings in UIL Advanced Solo and qualified for state UIL. Memphis and Addie were both named the Vocalist of the Year for GISD based on their participation and achievement. Their GPAs, they're good students or were good students, and they had gold medals at TSSEC. During the state contest, this is what's really interesting. Each judge heard dozens of excellent students perform, best of the best across the state. Those judges then get to designate the very best of the best as an outstanding performer. So basically that's the top 2% in the state. Amazingly, both Addie and Memphis were chosen as outstanding performers. So this is a remarkable accomplishment. It really almost equates to being like a state champion in the Texas state ensemble world. So tonight they're going to sing for us. No, I'm but we're especially glad Addie was able to come back. How's college going?
It starts next week.
Next week, okay. See, another benefit of being out of public school.
Where are you going, may I ask?
MCC.
Yeah, that's where I went. So, and Memphis just survived football practice, so that's good. Yeah. Well, guys, we're super proud of you. We got you a couple of certificates. We want to take your pictures, so if you could come on up.
And I also have the we also have for them a letter from the UIL state director and their state medals, which they will do have. Wow.
Put that on, and then just you want to hold yours. Shree, Tim, do y'all want to get in the picture too?
Sure. You can move this.
Yes.
Okay. I'll feel short over here, it's fine.
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Get one more. 1, 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask, was this the first ever?
So, my first year that I was teaching here in Gatesville, we had Kyle Stramiska, you probably remember him. We had him and 2 other students who all went to state solo and ensemble. They all got gold medals also, and Kyle was chosen as an outstanding performer. So it's pretty cool and rare to have 2 in one school year and then just a few years apart from the same campus, because some schools will go many years and never have one that gets chosen. So very, very proud of them.
And Teresa's going to present later on tonight all the accolades that the choral program had last year, so
yes.
It's a big deal.
Yes. That's the same medal that like a state champion of wrestling or whatever would get. So that's pretty cool.
Good job.
Thank you.
I think she's going to pawn it. Look at
that.
Is it real? Well, guys, next up is our staff spotlight. I got tickled. The Chambers, I saw the Jeep come in on 2 wheels.
We were trying to get here, but
That's
we
the
got off the bus route.
That's the mark of a good bus
Here.
driver. Yeah, yeah. Well, guys, I wanted to honor these 2 and kind of give you a little bit of background. So in June of 2015, Weldon retired after 27 years of teaching, 19 of which were here at GISD. And then a year later, in June of 2016, Charlotte retired with her last 4 years here as a behavior teacher at the intermediate school. They still live in Belton, but Weldon and Charlotte continue to work here as bus drivers. And as you guys know, the day starts very early, and we're keeping them up past their bedtime here. But that just shows some of the dedication and commitment that these two have for the community and our students. And I wanted to talk specifically about, on August 10th of last year, Charlotte caught COVID, and she was out for 88 days battling a serious case of COVID. And Weldon would give updates on Facebook, and it was a great testament to a strong Christian family. He was sure praying for you. We could watch it.
I think every church had me on their prayer list, and I'm just so grateful that they did, because prayers are answered. And I had Kayla and Weldon fighting for me every day at the hospital, because they were wanting to take me off the life supports and all that, and they said no. And then and the grace of God, and I had 2 angels to visit me while I was down, and he said they just weren't ready for me yet, that I had to come back down. I said, thank you, Lord. And I just came on back.
Yeah. 88 days, that was a miraculous recovery. And so as soon as she was off life support, we got her back on the bus. But these guys have a tremendous work ethic. They're really a great part of the ISD family, and so we couldn't think of anybody better to honor tonight. And we sure hope that y'all keep doing it for a few more years to come.
We do too.
All right,
Yes.
you guys, come
Thank
get
y'all
your
so
certificate.
much.
Wonder how many miles you've driven.
Oh, I can't. And it seems like my bus route gets longer every year.
It does.
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. One more. 1, 2. All right, thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Chris will be here. He can take a kid home with the van. They got the wrong bus.
Yes,
today.
got on the wrong bus.
He was headed over here.
Well, I know everybody in here. Hey, this is great. This is like a reunion. Now, can we leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all are free to leave.
Well, thank y'all so much. This does
God bless
mean a
all
lot.
of you.
It does mean a lot.
It's well deserved, Charlotte.
Bye, y'all.
Is there anyone here tonight who wishes to speak to the board about any item that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move along. Notice. Oh, we do have one.
No, they want to leave. They didn't want to be rude.
Yeah.
All right, notice of public meeting for tax and budget adoption.
At the last board meeting, of course, you approved the preliminary budget for 22-23. And tonight, this item is a notice of the public meeting that will be scheduled on August the 30th. That's a Tuesday night. That's 5:30 p.m. right here in this room, the boardroom. And the purpose of this meeting will be to approve the budget officially for next year and also adopt the tax rates for 23. The notice that will appear in the newspaper has been included here in your board packet. And so it has the rates that we have talked about. 0.8546 on the maintenance and operation and 0.20 on the INS. So it's a decrease on both of these rates for next year. And the notice will also indicate that the average home will see a decrease of $51 on their taxes. So I don't know, does this require, I think this is just a public notice.
We don't need to vote.
of the meeting that will take place on the 30th of August.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks, Daryl.
Budget.
That was quick.
The next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. For those of you who don't know, there's some items that we just automatically approve because we don't take time to really go into them in depth. Financial statements as of July 31st, bills and payrolls for July 31st, budget amendments, year-to-date budget amendments, vital signs report, extracurricular status of 4-H organization, resolution, appoint a that one we'll do, correct?
I could go over it right quick. It's the,
Let's hear that one.
yeah, we do this every year. That's Becky Coward and Robert Ferguson and Donna Schwash. They are the three considered adjunct instructors because we do so much with 4-H. And so I emailed Becky, she said, we're good. Same three folks and same arrangement where the kids will get instruction with 4-H pretty frequently.
And do I hear a motion that we accept those items? Jimmy makes a motion, second. Okay, all for? Anyone opposed? So we accept those items. Now we have information items, things that the board doesn't vote on, we just enjoy hearing. And the first we're going to talk about is our choral program. And let me just say that I have spent a lot of time with these people, and they are phenomenal teachers. Oh my goodness. You ought to go into the room. Take a detour. If you're in elementary, in intermediate, back up there in the choir hall, or during the day, you'll be stunned at what you see. I have to get out of these kids.
Thank you.
I thought that whoever sung at that thing, the presentation of the bachelorette, whoever that guy was amazing. And even in graduation, they do a great.
Was it not a convocation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like last week?
No. This is for the thing on the Sunday. It was a church.
Oh,
Oh,
baccalaureate.
baccalaureate.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Oh.
was amazing.
So that was Anna and Ad.
Avery singing
Yeah,
And
one of our
Anna-
senior kiddos, and I think Anna Phillips was the other one that sang at that.
So you're up, Sheree.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
come on, let's go.
Dr. Klingler's here too.
Yeah, come on, come on. Okay, so first of all, you kind of heard a little bit about two of our outstanding students, and we have classes full of amazing kids, but those two just had an amazing year, and to have all of that accomplishment in one school year by the same two kids is really remarkable. So I've lived in Texas my whole life. I grew up in Tomball, and I was in choir, and I came from a really good choir program, both at my church and at my school. And I can just say that of all of the things on this list that these two kids accomplished, I only accomplished one of them as a student. I was chosen as the outstanding student from my high school choir program. I never went to state solo and ensemble. My school didn't do that. And I definitely didn't get a gold medal at state, and I definitely didn't get a second gold medal as an outstanding performer. I never made it to area through the TMEA process. I never was a TMEA music scholar. And I would like to think of myself as a pretty accomplished musician. So to have those kids do that here in Gatesville, Texas is amazing. And it's partly our effort because we help coach them, but it's 99% their own effort and their own desire to want to do that. And so they've been a huge inspiration in our choir program this past year. All of our kids would say, especially our 6th graders and 7th graders, I want to be Addie when I grow up. And I'm like, me too, because they're just amazing. Addie also went out and sang the Star Spangled Banner at football games and at Veterans Day. She sang at graduation. Memphis is a gigger. He goes out in town and plays his guitar and sings. If you aren't aware, he's my son, but he goes out and plays in the community, and so he sings all his choir music, but he gets out and sings, country music and plays at our church sometimes too. And so I just wanted to toot their horn a little bit. And if you didn't notice on that list about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 items down where it says TMEA Music Scholar, that's through the Texas Music Educators Association. So in order to qualify for that award as an individual, you have to participate in the solo and ensemble stuff. You have to participate in the region choir stuff. You have to do all these other things like attend professional performances and be a valued member of your choir program. And then it's also based on your GPA. So on top of being amazing singers, they also have to be stellar students. They have to have an A GPA. And so when I went to the counselor and we looked at all the criteria, I'm like, do they match all the criteria? They do, they do, they do. Go to the counselor, you know, do they have the GPA to qualify? And they do. So that is awesome. And it's something they can continue to earn throughout the years. And for Memphis, he already earned his letter jacket this year as a freshman, and we already had to take all the patches off and move them and have them re-sewn to leave room for future years because they just had such a heck of a year. And of course, Addie's jacket's decked out too. They get patches for all this stuff. So that kind of segues into our choir program. So we do teach 6th grade through 12th grade. We are the intermediate for one period, and junior high and high school kids, of course, are in the high school choir room for the rest of the day. It's really fun to teach our own feeder program. I love being my own feeder program, because if they don't know something, it's not anybody's fault but my own. So I make sure that before they move to the next grade level, they're ready to rock and roll. And it's been really fun the first couple of days of school. You can clearly see the difference between a beginner class and an advanced class, and it's really fun to have a different dialogue with those two classes, because those advanced kids come back and they keep coming back every year and they keep growing. So if you look at like the chart at the top, you can kind of see the growth in our program. We've almost doubled in size. We have doubled in size in intermediate. We have, well, I think we're sitting at 48. It fluctuates a little bit each day, you know. We've kind of set around 25 for the last couple of years. We're actually going to be splitting it into 2 simultaneous classes, one in the band room, one in the choir room, because that's a lot of kids in one room to try to give instruction to. The junior high, we have almost doubled. Well, when I got here in 18, moved here in 2016, started teaching here in 2018, we only had about the 26 in choir, and we were up to 70. We're just busting at the seams there, which is awesome. And then our high school program has kind of held steady over the last couple of years around the 60 mark. We do a great job of retaining the students. They just keep coming back for more because they're having fun and they're having a great experience. And we're also trying really hard to recruit more kids and make sure that they understand it's a great place to be. It's going to be fun. They're going to get to do a lot of cool stuff. So there's just kind of a list of the things that we've accomplished this year with our program. The high school stuff is kind of referring back to Memphis and Addie on the all-state process. The solo and ensemble, we had 12 students who went to solo and ensemble at the regional level, 11 gold medals and 1 excellent medal. UIL rates kids 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 being the highest and 5 being the lowest. Every 11 kids that got a 1, 1 kid who got a 2, and no 3, 4s, and 5s, which is wonderful. And then 6 that advanced, and out of those 6, all 6, so 5 of them got a gold medal at state and 1 of them got a silver medal at state, and again, no 3, 4s, and 5s, and then 2 outstanding performers. So that's pretty awesome for them. And then UIL concert and sight reading. We took, this is at the high school level, we took a varsity mixed choir, which we've been taking. That's kind of been historically the choir that goes to UIL from Gatesville. But we also added a varsity treble choir last year, which was an all-girl choir. There has never been a varsity treble choir in Gatesville ISD, so we took this varsity treble choir to UIL last year, and they got the first ever sweepstakes for Gatesville High School, and that was kind of making a little bit of a history thing. And sweepstakes means perfect scores. 6 judges and all straight ones, perfect scores. So very proud of those kids. And our varsity mixed choir got superior in concert and excellent in sight reading. So again, no, it's 3, 4s, and 5s. We don't want to be down there to 3, 4, and 5. By the way, 3 means average, ew. 4 means below average, ew, and 5 means poor. So we want to live in the superior and excellent world, and our kids are really doing that. At the junior high level, you want to talk about junior high and intermediate?
Yeah, sure. We had 2 students who were selected for the TMEA Region 8 and Region 9 choir. We actually had 3 students who auditioned, and the one who wasn't placed in the choir just missed it. He was first alternate, so had someone been hit by a bus, we would have had 3.
Darn it.
We're glad that didn't happen, I guess. And then one of those students as well was selected for the TMEA All-State Junior High Choir. And so Paisley Wells attended that this summer in San Antonio and participated in that as well. Our non-varsity treble choir received superior sight reading at UIL and an excellent performance on stage. And our varsity junior high girls, for the 3rd consecutive year, earned a sweepstakes at that contest as well. And our intermediate students, the 6th grade, participated in a festival for Pride of Texas music, and we took them to Houston, and they and the junior high kids combined together participated and earned a superior rating in that. We also do a local solo festival for our junior high and intermediate kids. That's what it's targeted at. But some of our high school students are either not quite there skill set wise or are a little bit nervous, and so some of them opt to participate in that rather than the full-blown UIL. And so we bring in guest clinicians to work with them, for them to perform, to give them some foundation so that they can work on those more competitive events.
There is no UIL solo and ensemble for junior high. It's
Yeah.
just for high school. But to prep them for the experience in high school, we kind of host our own contest here. We had over 50 students in 6th through 12th grade that did a solo. Mr. Dr. Ament was one of our judges. That's what we call him in the choir room. Then we had Dr. Forever I just kept saying Dr. Ament. I was like, Mr. Ament, and then it just came out Mr. Dr. Ament. It's just stuck. That's what we call him.
Now we call him President Mr. Doctor.
Yeah! And then Doc was our other judge for the kiddos. So they come in with a song that we've given them a couple weeks to prepare, and they try to sing it from memory, and we give them feedback to help build them up towards eventually going to regional and state solo and ensemble as a high school kid. And then we end our year with Showstopper, which is our pop concert. You might be more familiar with Follies. That was around for a long time. So we end the year with a pop concert. This year's theme was back to the 80s. We did 22 different songs. Some of them were solo, some of them were groups, all different combinations of groups. Everything's got a costume and choreography, and we really rock out to the theme. This year's theme is going to be songs from movies, so we'll rock out to a bunch of movie songs. And the coolest thing was we sold out the whole auditorium for Showstoppers. About two days before the show, we had to tell people, we don't have any more seats, because it sold completely out, which was really awesome.
Well, you should have did 2 shows.
Well, we've talked about it.
And we're going to, because our enrollment with the 6th graders has increased enough that this year we're going to have them do their own individual spring pop show, and then the Showstoppers will continue to be 7 through 12, and that'll help to facilitate multiple performances and to give more people the opportunity to see our kids perform.
About 50 more kids in choir this year than there were last year. And so we sold out last year. Like, there's no way we can fit all those kids and all their family and friends that want to come. So we decided to separate 6th grade out to their own show. So we've just had a spectacular year. It has been just one awesome event after the other, and it's just a testament to the kind of kids that we have in our program. And I was talking to them today about the choir handbook, and we got to the part about discipline and stuff, and there's like a blurb in there about referrals, and I was like, we don't have to write referrals because we're lucky in our classroom that most of the kids who sign up for our class want to be there. And so we just have an awesome day and enjoy the heck out of it, and it's really cool to go back and like put this all on paper and go, man, wait, that was a great year. So I told the kids, now we have this, and we got to top it. So that's the mission we're on this year, is to top it with all those extra kids. So thank y'all for listening, and thanks for having us here. Thank y'all.
It's easy to see why they're successful, because I really appreciate enthusiasm. It's contagious, and y'all are enthusiastic and excellent at what you do.
Thank you.
And that bleeds over to the program.
If you're ever having a bad day, swing by the choir room. It won't last long. You might even leave out tapping your toe or dancing or something.
And I know y'all had to, because I think y'all have my little niece. And, I don't know how y'all didn't have a referral with her.
Tell them.
Little tiny, President, what? Oh my goodness.
Hey, is it
Jalen!
Okay. She's precious. I love her.
Ooh, I'm glad
We just harnessed all that energy.
she has a lot.
Yes, she could. That's
I
okay.
think I had so many of them. So.
It happens.
Thank you.
Well, thank y'all for listening.
Keep up the good work. On ramps.
Beat that, Shane. Beat that.
Good luck.
Let's see. On-ramps. All right, you guys know that we've, this is our, well, we're going into our 3rd year. We've had 2 years now where we've had on-ramps classes. The first year we piloted it with the Chemistry 1 and the Chemistry 1 lab. And then this year we added more classes to the program. Remember, On-Ramps is the program that we partner with through the University of Texas. It's supplemented by TEA, and the impetus behind it is low cost, low barrier college. It's actually considered dual enrollment, where you're dually enrolled in the college program and the high school class at the same time. And so our teachers go to training. Initially, they go to 10 days of training in the summer for their very first time. And then they go 2 days in the fall and 2 days in the spring, and then 3 days every summer, and then repeat the cycle, 3, 2, and 2. And so they're actually, it's been virtual, but they go to training and get trained from actual professors and University of Texas faculty. The program is actually expanded now. Texas Tech offers an on-ramps program. Tarleton is starting to offer an on-ramps program now, and the University of Texas oversees is the umbrella of the whole of everything in the state. And so a big reason why we started looking at this is because of just college readiness. Are our kids ready to go to college? And we started looking at how our kids were performing in AP classes. In AP classes, their grades were doing well, but we were not getting any college credit in AP classes. We were getting maybe 5 to 10% if we were lucky of college credit through AP exams. Our kids weren't performing to where they needed to on AP exams, and so we wanted to have something more rigorous and more prepared, because I don't know how many times we've had kids that come back to say, well, I wasn't ready for college. I wasn't prepared for college. And so that's the whole reason why we really switched to on-ramps. It's more supportive. Our teachers are more supported through the program, than we are from some of our local providers. And so just kind of giving an update. I don't know if you want to go to the on-ramps year-end review. On-ramps prepares this presentation for every school that goes through this. And this just kind of gives an update about how our kids perform throughout the year. I mean, it breaks it down into, we had 81 students enrolled into 129 classes. So it means 81 kids, some kids may have been enrolled in maybe 2, maybe even 3 on-ramps courses at a time. So 81 students for 129 seats. It breaks it down by gender and race and ethnicity, first generation college students. And then you look at, it says the about students, the course offerings, enrollments. It tells you how many kids that we had enrolled in each course. For instance, their biology 1, we had 7 students enrolled, and so forth. So that's where our 129 enrollments come from, 129 seats. Talks about course completion. We had 90% of those kids actually complete the course, didn't drop it. And then it gets into eligibility of the course. And so I've kind of broken down some numbers here. And so you look at in Biology 1 and Biology 1 Lab, we had 7 students enrolled. 100% of them earned credit. And what earned credit means is they received a D or higher. So in college, a D is passing. So they received a D or higher. At the end of the class, the kids have 5 days to make a credit determination. And so they get onto their online portal through their on-ramps, and they either choose to accept the college credit or they choose not to accept the college credit. So the kids have a decision, and that's what that dual enrollment is. So the teachers are giving grades throughout the semester, and then the college professor says this grade, and this grade is going to make up your college grade. And so that's kind of a little bit about how it works. But at the end of the semester, 100% of our biology kids accepted credit. Okay, and remember when I was talking about AP exams, I bet on I don't have that in front of me, but I bet on our biology AP exams, I bet we were less than 20% of our kids actually gaining college credit. Biology 1 Lab, so 86% of them were eligible, so 5 of the 7 students accepted for a 71% acceptance rate. And so Chemistry 1, we had 100 kids eligible to earn credit, and 100% of them accepted credit on Chemistry 1. Chemistry 1 Lab, 100% were eligible to earn credit, but 12 of the 13 kids actually accepted the credit, who said that they wanted. It gets a little bit harder. The math, we'll say when I talk to the teachers, the math is the hardest. And so it is pretty tough, it is pretty rigorous. And so for college algebra, we actually give it to sophomores because it can be your Algebra 2 credit. And so they can get into that class at that time. And there's no TSI requirement to take on-ramps classes because it's dual enrollment. And so that's what the low barrier, low cost idea is. Because they don't have to have that college entrance exam to get into the class. And so the college algebra was tougher. So 23 students were enrolled, but only 47% were eligible to earn credit. And so, but only 9 of the 23 actually accepted. So for an acceptance of 38%. Pre-cal was tough. I talked to the teacher on this one, and they said that, yeah, it's a really, really hard class, but 70% of them were eligible to earn credit, but only 3 of the students actually accepted credit. And so those are the 2 toughest classes that we're offering through on-ramps right now. And then when you get to U.S. history, so U.S. history is A and B, and so that's 3 hours each semester. And we had 95% of the kids eligible the first semester to earn credit, and then 100% the second semester. And 18 of the 21 students accepted credit in the first semester, and all 22 kids accepted credit the second semester. And I bet we were less than 20% of actually earning college credit on U.S. history on the AP exam. So that kind of gives you a little bit of rundown about how our kids performed in on-ramps courses this year. Does anybody have any questions about that? Yes,
If
sir.
if they decided to not take the credit, it's because they don't want anything lower than an A on their transcript?
Right, they may not want it on their college GPA or some sort, and so they may not have accepted
So
it.
usually the A is accepted.
Yeah. Now, we still give them the advanced GPA for high school if they take the course, because they're doing the same coursework. They just may not have accepted it on the college. And their college grade and their high school grade is not going to be the same. It may not be the same.
Memphis, are you in there?
College.
College.
Are you in
How's the
algebra
first
right
3
now?
days? How were the first 3 days?
Be honest.
Didn't really do much. All we've really done is just like sign into the on-ramps.
He came
website.
Came after school today, and he's like, I think I want to change my schedule.
Have you had any homework? I know when I talk to the teachers, like in the college algebra, you might have homework 2 to 3 times a week, where you might have, it's kind of a flipped classroom, where you might have an hour or 2, maybe a night, 3 times a week.
We're really
This-
selling it.
He was just like, with football, I don't have time. We will find time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Could you tell us who teach each one of those classes? That might-
Yeah, if I can remember
This
off the
is
top of
not-
my head, Ms. Barrows may have to help me. Biology is Sarah Blanchard. Chemistry is Lisa Truss. College algebra this year is Miss Penny. Pre-calculus, pre-cal is Katsoris. And then U.S. history is Bonnie Latham. So these guys have gone to lots of training. I mean, they'll get through in this report about how much training they have actually gone to. And before, like when we're using other providers, there's no training. There's not any support for our teachers to have. And so,
Shane, how much did a class cost for a kid last year?
so let's get to that. Let's see. If you'll go down the page, so the average 4-year, that's the whole impetus behind this low cost, low barrier. It's $149 a class for our kids. We pay $100. I've been talking to Mr. Fraser. I'd like to cover all the expense this year. If we can afford it, I'd like to cover the whole $149. For a low socioeconomic kid, it's $99. So our $100 that we contribute covers the cost of that. And on-ramps just sends me a bill at the end of the semester and at the end of the year. But the average 4-year institution, the average 3-hour class is $2,027, and a textbook costs about $240. So that's about $2,250 for a 3-hour class. So you take that $149 that we're paying for that class. Our kids saved $179,000 this year through taking on-ramps. Now, they may not have all accepted the credit, but the savings is there in the money that we're saving. But again, it's the rigor. Like, are we preparing our kids for college? A lot of the things that we were hearing before is we weren't really preparing our kids for college. The AP courses weren't doing that. They weren't scoring they weren't making the scores on AP exams to get the college credit. And so that just kind of gives you a little bit of rundown. We have like we went over the 5 instructors, and they've gone through 320 hours of continuing professional education for on-ramps.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Numbers are great, but where you have, like in algebra, where 23 students were enrolled and 47%, or 9 out of 20, no.
9 out of 23.
47% were eligible to earn credit.
Mhm.
So what does that do for their grade with local high school?
Well, they have 2 grades. They have a college grade and they have the high school grade.
Okay.
And the high school teacher controls the high school
Okay.
grades, and they follow the high school
So they
grading.
can still get credit locally even though they're
Correct,
not making
and they
it
follow
up
the
at
high school
college.
grading policy. Yeah, I guarantee you,
Okay.
all of the kids, and help back me up on this, that their high school grades are higher than their college grades because the teachers have more control over it.
Sure. Okay. So they're not having to repeat it or whatever, they still can earn credit locally.
They earn credit, they just may not have earned the college credit.
Right. I
But
got you.
then I guess if they didn't earn the college credit, they can retake the college, if they go to college, they can retake the class again, and maybe they'll be more prepared for it when they go to college.
This is an excellent program for the kids that's going to college, because they can go into college really as a sophomore. That's big cost saving.
Yeah, and I know you guys may have heard, like, well, why are we not offering AP courses? Or because after talking to the teachers, that they're in these continuing professional education courses, and when they're on and going to training with different schools when they offer schools that offer AP and on-ramps courses, they said it's a struggle. Some of the teachers they're the same teachers that teach both courses, and it's really just a conflict. And so we really didn't think that it was apples to apples to have AP and on-ramps. And so because what we would have is we would have everybody dropping on-ramps and going to AP, and we're still not preparing anyone to go to college. So it was if our philosophy is to prepare kids for college, then are we doing that? And so that's kind of where we are with the on-ramps. And so it just kind of gives you a rundown, just kind of about how we're performing and where we are. I think that's it right here.
Any questions?
That's it.
I just think it's an excellent opportunity for these kids. And I know in the past years, I've heard lots of students come back from college saying, I wasn't prepared in math or whatever. So
I was trying to look, so
this
like,
does help that.
yeah, I was trying to think about how many hours. So biology is a 3-hour class plus the lab, so that's 4 hours. Chemistry is a 3-hour class plus the labs, it's another 4 hours. College algebra is a 3-hour class, pre-cal's 3 hour, and then U.S. history A and B are 3 hour. We still offer speech through CTC. We still offer economics and government through CTC. And our goal is next year we would like to add rhetoric and writing, which would be your English 1301 and 1302.
Are they offered during the school day or
During the
not?
school day, and our teachers teach it, supported by an on-ramps instructor from the University of Texas.
I mean, the others that you were talking about,
From CTC?
Oh,
CTC,
it's a struggle. I'm gonna be honest, it's a struggle.
yeah.
That's why we,
It seems
that's why
like
we
there'd be
have
a
moved
big
to this.
difference.
Yeah, and two, for CTC, so this is $149 a class. It's a much rigorous, it's a University of Texas transcript, and CTC is about $390 a student for a 3-hour class. A 4-hour class is almost $500. And so, and we help with that, $100 a class, but just for the quality and for the price, this is just a much better.
Well, something else I was thinking about is UT credits transfer to anywhere where some colleges don't take CTC
Correct.
credits.
Correct.
Good.
And so the reason that this can be so inexpensive, cheap is TEA supplements it. So it's a TEA supported program.
is awesome.
Thank you, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
Staffing updates and the certification status of new teachers.
Just an update on our recent hires over the spring and summer.
You ran everyone off.
We hired 27 teachers and 18 aides, and out of that group, we had 17 of the newly hired professionals fully certified. We had 10 of those teachers that were had their certifications or had their degree, but they're in an alternative certification program. And they're all at different levels getting their test, and we help to facilitate, monitor, give them deadlines, and help them get to that so that they can become fully certified within the school year. We had 18 aides. 6 of those intervention spots were aides. We replaced certified teachers with aides. And then a lot of the spots we had to move around so that we could best coverage the needs of our students. And so we did look around and see how we could keep all our staff, make sure the raises go through, and what's the best way to handle the type of climate that we have of trying to get teachers to work and be certified and come into this field, because a lot of them are exiting the field. And there was a lot of times when we didn't have applicants. And so we had to come up with some way to make sure that we had quality people in front of our kids. And so we had some shifting around, but these are the numbers of our new hires. And so there was a request made on how that broke down. And some say, well, the alternative certification program, you know, if they're not fully certified, but they're working through that. They have somebody in their program that comes in and evaluates them, and then we help facilitate by making sure that they hit their deadlines so that they can become certified. Also, all the paraprofessionals that we hire, they already have their TEA educational certification, aid certification, or we help them get that during the year so that they can meet the highly qualified criteria that we need for some of the grants that we have. Any questions about?
Of the 10 teachers that are working towards certification, off the top of your head, do you remember what grade levels these are in?
No, sir.
It would be all like same grade or?
Yes, so they're spread out across. I didn't break it down.
All the way district-wide?
Mm-hmm.
And per the state, they're all hireable.
Yes. Oh, you all did a good job.
Yeah, we're fully staffed, and some people are not. And so we're
Right.
A lot of
spot.
people. Yeah.
All right,
Back
thank
to
you.
school update.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, let's see here. I'll do mine first, Shane, and then yours. So enrollment numbers. So last year, we ended the year at 2672. Thursday, first day of school, 2621. Friday, 2635. Today, 2671. So we're hoping that each day there's more and more coming in. And we experienced that again today. You can see it jump, 35, 36 kids there. That traditionally occurs usually through Labor Day. You keep getting kids in. And so we're identifying the no-shows, the one like, hey, where's Jimmy at? And so Scott and his crew are gonna start knocking on doors, making phone calls, things like that. And some of them legitimately moved out of town, they're gone, But if they're here, we're wondering, why are you not here yet? So anyway, so we were glad to see that increase, and we hope it keeps improving. All right, any questions about that? All right, the second part of the update is Friday, we got all of our ratings, our letter grades. And so it was confidential Friday, but the media can now have access to it today. So we wanted to go ahead and let y'all see it. And Shane got together a really good chart here that compares the last 3 years that we've had a rating. He's going to show you 2018, 2019. We skipped 2020 and 2021, and then we have this year's. As y'all remember, the pandemic years, 20 and 21, we didn't have ratings.
So I broke it down, just kind of comparing, that these reports can get long to look at. But you look at your overall rating there, and that's where you have it broken down by elementary, intermediate, junior high school, and then district, compared to 2018, 2019, and 2022. And so you get your score. It's a complicated system, but you have domain 1, 2, and 3, that that you're scored on, and there's a calculation of how you get that. But how it is domain 1 is student achievement, domain 2 is school progress, and domain 3 is closing the gaps. You take your best score from domain 1, student achievement, or school progress, whichever one is better of the two, and you take 70% of that score. And then you take your closing the gap score, and you multiply that times 30%. You average those two together. You add those two together, and that's what gives you your overall rating. And so that kind of lets you see where we are. Elementary from 2018 went from a 63 from a D campus, which put them in comprehensive, to where we were having to write some improvement plans and do a lot of things there, to 2019 to a 77, to 2022 to an 89. And so you can kind of see they were 1 point away, whether in student achievement they were an 89, or school progress an 89, or closing the gaps at 93. They were 1 point away in any one of those three categories of being an A campus. So they're really close. And they had distinctions in reading and closing the gaps. And the distinctions are based on comparative schools that are similar to you.
Can you explain what closing the gap?
Closing the gap. So I'll explain all three of them for you real quick. Student achievement is taking your approaches, meets, and masters and averaging those together. Your school progress it takes a look at, there's two ways to measure school progress, and you get your better score of the two. One of them is growth, on how a kid performed from 1 year to the next. Did they show growth on that test? And from, like for instance, 4th grade math to 5th grade math, did they show progress? And so they do that on all their assessments, on ones that you can actually show progress on. Or the second way is called relative performance, and they take comparative schools based on your low socioeconomic status, and then they draw kind of like an average line. Are you below it or above it? And so they kind of rate you that way, but you get the better score of those two in that one. And then you're closing the gaps. It takes into all your sub-pops. So any group that's 25 or more students is considered a sub-pop, and so that's considered all students, your different race and ethnicities, special ed, continuously enrolled, non-continuously enrolled, and that means kids who have been enrolled in the district for 3 years consecutive or not 3 years consecutive. I'm trying to think about what else. ESL is a component. There's a lot of different, it's a pretty complicated system, but anyways, so closing the gaps, and that's actually the closing the gaps domain 3 is your federal accountability, and so it's got some different measures in there. And then you look at intermediate from 2018 to 2022 went from a 69 to a 75. Junior high from an 82 to a 74 in 2019 to back to an 81 in 2022. High school from an 80, 86, and 83. And then the district, you can kind of see how we performed there. Junior high did get a distinction in science this last year, and then high school received a distinction in English language arts and science.
And one thing to point out on elementary, the closing the gaps, the 45 to 69 to 92, Shane's been looking into it. That could trigger a blue ribbon type designation. So we're hoping that would be a great kudo and feather in their hat to get that.
I don't know, there's two ways to be identified as a blue ribbon school. It's either based off your student achievement, or it's based off your closing the gaps. And
it's going to be close.
And they take the top 13 schools, Title I schools, in those categories, and what designates, gives you the honor of that. So I don't know if we'll get it, but I've known schools that have not grown as much and have received it, so I don't know.
Well, it shows a lot of hard work on our faculties.
They've come a long ways. So, anyways, any questions?
Good
So that officially got released today. So.
Report.
That's all of of our information items.
Now we're going to have to take action on these. Renew MOU with Central County Services.
Hey everyone. Each year we have to renew our memorandum of understanding with our Central County Services. So they are a school-based children's mental health service, and they provide counseling services to our referred GISD students that have a qualifying disability. This memorandum allows them to come into our campuses and serve the students that are referred to them. We offer area for them to come and do that, and it's just a partnership between us and them so that they can serve those children while they are in school in here. So it is my recommendation that we approve this memorandum for this year, again, for the new school year.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mary Ann motions, seconded by Linda. All in favor? And it's approved.
Thank you.
Banned out of state.
Once again, I tried this last year and I didn't like the policies they had in, so I'm back again. So asking for permission to go out of state for our band trip. The big question always is how we're going to support the kids and go through this process. Luckily our kids fundraise for years for this. We have one kid already has $500 in his account, and so they're building up on that. We have already programmed several fundraisers. We have a coffee fundraiser that's coming up for students to sell just for the high school, so that way we don't oversaturate the community. I also did a lot of research into other things that were happening in the community, and everyone drinks coffee. I mean, I drink coffee all the time. I deal with kids at 4:30 in the morning. They're my own, but I have. So we're doing that. We have kind of an unorthodox one we do in February. That's our mattress fundraiser. We're bringing that one back. Last time we did that fundraiser, it brought in about $10,000. Our band boosters kick in about $20,000 to help cover costs. And right now on this agenda, I say $1,200 for the overall cost. I'm highballing that just because I don't know what the fluctuation in gas is going to do, those types of things. In the itinerary and the costs that were provided to me, if we do quad rooms, which we have done traditionally, it's around $900 before any kind of extra contributions from the band boosters. When this happened a few years ago, the way we work the system is that the average cost was $1,200, and when the band boosters kicked in money, it dropped it almost $300. And so that actually brought their cost to about $950. So if everything holds true on this suggested itinerary and proposal, then our kids could possibly get a Disney trip for around $700. And it's 4 days, charter buses, the works, and that's because this year we went above and beyond as far as getting them extra meal vouchers and doing some of those other things, so that way they wouldn't have to worry about it carrying a large sum of money with them.
Where do you want to go?
We're going to go to, so one of the things that we do, we give them a behind the scenes kind of experience with, like, we have a sound recording session with some professional Disney musicians. And so that's one of the cool things that we do with them. We're going to go to Universal Studios and Island Adventure. We'll do Magic Kingdom. I'm between Epcot and Animal Kingdom, just because Epcot, that's a long way to walk. That's a long way. And so between those two, and then of course Hollywood Studios in Florida, not California. California's too far that way. It's hot.
Any other questions?
You need sponsors?
I always need sponsors. I'll be hosting.
You need hosts?
I might. So with y'all's approval, I'll have everything's kind of ready to go and kick off the whole entire system.
What's the coffee thing you're going to do?
So we're going to be doing a coffee fundraiser, and this company does roasted to order coffee. And so you put in an order, it takes about 2 weeks, and they'll actually have like snickerdoodle coffee, breakfast coffee, like all those kind of different things. And actually when they ship it to you, it actually has the Gatesville G on the coffee, so it's Gatesville coffee.
That's cool. Well, make
So-
sure we know about that.
I'll post it everywhere.
And I assume all aspects of the out-of-state trip have been reviewed by the administration and you're comfortable with where they're going and what they're doing?
We'll continue to look at it, but first step is for you guys. How do y'all feel about it?
Any other questions?
And the other thing, the reason I went with this company and why I didn't fully go with the trip last year is because a lot of companies last year were really just trying to survive. Coming out of a COVID year and a COVID situation, you know, charter buses, they didn't know whether or not they were going to be able to provide charter buses. And this company has been really transparent with, hey, we're going to provide you with a, you know, if the parent decides to purchase it, it's an extra fee, but an all money back, like insurance policy. So that way, if someone happens to get COVID or get really sick the week of the trip, they can cash in that insurance policy and get that money back. And that was something very important to me because when I approached last year, right after y'all's approval, there was a huge surge in COVID. And me as a dad, and me as like somebody that my kids are important to me, I couldn't go, I'm gonna, you know, here's $1,000 for this trip. Oh, too bad you can't go. And that's just something that wouldn't sit well with me as a human being.
Right. How many kids are we talking about?
It's approximately about 100 kids.
What, all high school?
High school band students.
Okay.
About how many parents you're gonna have in that?
I will come up with a ratio once we get like the entrance and then deposit. I generally do 1 to about 2 chaperones per 10 kids. So 1 for 5, just because like I was in high school and I know how teenagers are. And like when the way we do our trips, like especially a trip like this, like you were assigned to a chaperone, you are not allowed to be away from your chaperone, and we open the park and we close the park. And then I always go above and beyond, and I contact the local like police department, and we hire a security guard to walk the hallways of the hotel room, just because the last thing we ever want to hear about is students doing what students do.
You were in high school.
And so, you know, and I took quite a few, like, I called my high school band director, I called my, you know, a couple of my mentors, and that's how we came up with this whole entire system of, hey, you know, this is how we check all the boxes and how we provide, like, safety for our kids. And so having extra chaperones, even more than what we probably need. The band directors are always visible and available. Setting up our remind system so that way if a student does need to get in contact with us, it's very easy for them to get in contact with us, and just being transparent in that extent.
Well, another thing that's good about that you get more than you need is one year I went and a child got sick, but one of those adults has to stay with that child.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I'm at the point in
possibly could need it.
my life where I'm okay not getting on roller coasters, and I'll sit there and watch the same show the whole entire day. And you know, my kids know, like, if you do anything that you're not supposed to do, you're gonna watch the Disney princesses about 15 times a day.
Sounds fun.
Any other questions? We have a motion to allow the band to go on a requested out-of-state trip. Calvin, second. Marianne, all favored? All right, enjoy your trip.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to marching band rehearsal now.
Oh, Jose.
Yes, sir.
Tell us in 2 sentences about your new hire.
Former student. So, sorry, 2 words. So I'm actually getting to the
2
point.
sentences.
Music, not English. Sorry. So I'm at this point in my time in my career. We hired a new assistant band director. His name's James Corbin Myers. He goes by Corbin. I'm starting to get older in my career. He is actually a former student of mine. He was my drum major at Robinson High School, and he was my drum major the last time Robinson made state marching contest. So hopefully, you know, getting him on staff is going to bring a little bit of that extra luck into the band program. Last year we were a state alternate for state marching contest, but with this team and the kids that we have out there working and putting in the hours and the dedication, we feel we have a real good shot at being competitive. So.
All right.
What year did you go to Robinson?
I was at Robinson from 2013 through 15, I was there for 3 years. And then, you know, Gatesville opened up, and I said, that's where I need to be.
We're glad.
Smart choice.
People are nicer here.
All right.
That's being recorded.
Meal pricing. Adult meal pricing.
Okay, everything child nutrition, you know, basically is regulated by TDA, which is part of USDA. And they just came out with a tool to calculate the paid adult breakfast and lunch prices for next year. This tool just came out, and we're going to have to raise our rates to accommodate that tool and to meet the requirements. It's nothing much, just it is what it is. So the biggest increase actually is in the breakfast rate. So I guess they're finding a way to try to pay back the free lunches for the past 2 years. But the new rate's going from $2.35 to $3 for adult breakfast, and lunch is going to go from $4.25 to $4.50 for next year. So these are the rates that we have to charge. We have no choice, and we'll stay in compliance with TDA's requirements in terms of what we charge adults. A lot of it has to do with the amounts that's reimbursed to free and reduced, the rates that they use for that. And so they want to make sure that your adult rates are above those rates. So we're going to present this to you for your approval, that we raise the adult breakfast prices to $3, adult lunch prices to $4.50 for this coming school year.
Any more discussion? Do I hear a motion? Okay.
They're kind of slow.
All right. Linda?
They don't want to increase the
Second
prices.
by Helen.
Not as fun as just.
Yeah, really. Huh. I don't blame you. It's not a very popular thing to do.
It's pretty cut and dry.
All right, at 6:35, we'll
Thank you, board.
adjourn into executive session.